right. In this segment, we're going to cover some quick tips in preparation for interviewing. First one being dress to impress. I very much recommend bringing or wearing a suit. You can leave the tie at home or wear one. I'd probably say actually wear one. Um, but if it's a particularly casual environment, I think jeans and t-shirts, yeah, you can lose the tie. But it's always best to be overdressed than under. Additionally, this is probably obvious, but it's worth stating, bring something to take notes with and on, and bring multiple extra copies of your resume. As I previously stated, I also highly recommend treating the recruiter once you move past that initial conversation as someone who is working on your behalf. So ask for advice, what you should be expecting in subsequent interviews. In addition, as we already talked about, leverage the resource of Glassdoor to get a feel for what kind of questions additional stakeholders will be asking. We also talked about this, but it's worth re-mentioning here. Accentuate your qualities that most closely align with the company's stated values. Then mirror back what previous people you've interviewed with at that company, mirror back what they have said to people in the future. Like we used the example before about direct, authentic communication. If the recruiter says, hey, yeah, we really value direct, authentic communication at this company, in the next interview, you can say, hey, one thing that I'm really looking forward to in the next company I work with is direct, authentic communication. Get where I'm going with that. Prepare more questions than you'll have time to get answered. In the last section, I listed out a number of questions. That's just a starting point. Come up with your own after you've reviewed their website, reviewed LinkedIn, reviewed Glassdoor, RepView. Come up with your own questions in addition, enough that you don't think there's any real way that you will be able to get all of them answered. That is in part because, one, there's a lot of questions that you should be asking if you're genuinely curious about spending multiple years of your life working with this company, but also it allows you to soft close to the next interview. As I used the example in the previous segment about, hey, I do have a lot more questions. Who does it make sense for me to continue the conversation with? Should I just plan on asking those to the next person I interview with? That, for example, would be a soft close. One frequent mistake that people, especially early in their career, make is immediately answering a question, and because they haven't thought it through, it is remarkably long-winded. Do not do this. Do not do this. Instead, if you don't have a pre-planned answer to any question, maybe even if you do, take a pause, know where you're going with your answer, and be succinct. They will be evaluating how good are you at communicating and how conversational are you. And everyone with half a brain knows that a conversation requires two people's engagement. They do not want you to monologue at them. Answer their questions in a friendly but succinct manner and move on. Okay. As I mentioned before, also during the interview process, reach out to current reps on LinkedIn. I won't spend too much time on that, but it's just by way of reminder. Go back to the last section if you want to know kind of what questions to ask. Sometimes recruiters and others during the interview process will ask either what are you expecting to earn compensation-wise, or what are you currently earning? Oh, how I wish I could get these companies to stop doing that. It is a ridiculous question. And especially as you're getting into software sales, I would just recommend pivoting the question because it's none of their business, frankly. If, for example, you know from doing your research on RepView and or Glassdoor, you know that it's a $50K base, on target earnings of 75. My recommendation would be, if they ask you, what are you currently making? Answer it by saying, hey, thank you for asking. I'm looking for a job that I can make 50,000 base, at least 75K on target earnings. If they really keep pushing it, you have to make a decision there, because it's likely not going to go in your favor, considering if you're outside the world of software sales, you're likely going to have a big gap there. But I would always just pivot it. And if they insist on it, it's probably not going to be a great company or a great fit for you anyway. If, however, they ask, what are you looking to make? Again, that's where it really helps to do your homework. Figure out what, according to Glassdoor and RepView, what are their reps making, and come in a little bit higher than that. Or if you really have zero experience, you can come right at, hey, I'm trying to make 50 base, 75 on target earnings. Okay. The final point I'll reiterate, and I'm reiterating it because this is something that is oftentimes missed, even though I've reiterated multiple times. Look at the values on their website. They're doing a lot of the work for you as far as how to interview well. So spend some time looking at the values, both stated as well as written on the website, and find ways to work them into subsequent interviews. In the next section, we will be covering evaluating offers and then your first day. Look forward to seeing you then.